What's up? What's going on, everyone? Thanks, thanks to Jason for the raid. I assume most people probably came from there. Um, Dustin was helping out with the the raid command in the chat. Hey Jason, I mean James. What's up, Ken? What's going on? Yeah, Jason and James. Rollers, welcome. Andres, welcome. What's going on? I've got one of my teammates, Cami, is going to join, so I need to try to get her in, and we don't have like our splash screen, like a holding screen yet. So we got some things to add in here, but we'll get all that stuff set up. Brittany Postma and Storedall, what's going on? Brittany, what did you think of the Svelte kit content? Did that seem like it went pretty well? I thought that was cool. We kind of migrated that to Svelte kit just all of a sudden, or like without really any prep work. So that was kind of fun, I think. Um, Let me check with Cami to see if she's in there. My wife is in the chat. What's up, Jess? I can see her sitting outside at our table on our brand new deck, and she'll probably smile by the time the audio gets to her and realizes that I'm talking about her and watching her. Anyway, awesome, it did. I hadn't seen the slot warning and layout before. Yeah, that was interesting. I don't really know. We still don't really know what that was for, so I don't know. I'm planning on doing more SvelteKit content in the future, and specifically, like I said, tying that into PlanetScale to have some actual data be powered behind the scenes. Let's see. I think we're actually on YouTube as well. I don't know if we have anybody joining us from YouTube. Let me see if I can get Cami in here. We at PlanetScale. So this is, by the way, I don't even know, day 2 for me. Officially started PlanetScale yesterday. And we've had some pretty big announcements that I wanted to share with people. Let's see if maybe I'll pull this open to a new tab. So I already have one of those open. Let me close. I've got so many windows open. Close this stuff. And then I will share the funding that we just announced. Let me share my screen for people to see. And the GA. So we had announcements go live today at PlanetScale. One is we went GA, so I believe the beta started in May, and we are officially beta launch in May and officially are live today. We've already got some pretty cool customers using PlanetScale, which is pretty sweet. And then we also announced funding, so a Series C funding round. And this is a lot of the stuff that I think I was really excited about being a part of. Joining a small company that is like growing really quickly. I think it says like it's tripled in size over the last year or whatever. Um, yeah, so lots of exciting stuff going on. Let me know if anybody in the chat have you used PlanetScale before, or if you have like favorite database options that that you've used recently for apps. And there's another, I'm going to pull across this tab so I can see the chat. There is a hands-on article that we'll go through in a few minutes to show an integration with Netlify. That actually would have been perfect to talk about with Jason if I had been prepared for that beforehand. Still trying to get Cami into the stream behind the scenes. Hopefully I can get her in here. All right, let me also pull open the PlanetScale Netlify integration. Where is this article that I want to share with people? There it is. All right, I'm going to throw this into the chat in case anybody wants to check it out before we get started. We've got one person commenting from YouTube. Pablo, what's up? What's going on? I'm going to share this too. Does anybody have? We got a few minutes to kill before we kind of dive into that. Deep Thea on YouTube. Hello, welcome. Also, anybody have anything exciting going on? Any wins for this week? Shipped blog post or video or a piece of code or learned something new? Svelte Summit. I should. You mentioned that earlier, Brittany, and I forgot to bring it up. So let me do this. Pull this up for everybody to see. Svelte Summit. In the fall, I think it's this one. I can throw in this URL. Is this the one in New York City? I believe it is. So Brittany's going to be going to New York City to check out Svelte Summit, which I am very jealous of. My plan is to go back to New York. I used to live in New York City. Go back to New York for my birthday in February. So I'm looking forward to going back up there. But Brittany has been working with Svelte the last couple of months officially. Is that right? And is getting to go to this, which is pretty cool. In Muleman, learning a lot about WASM. It's very cool. That is very cool. I know nothing about that. So that sounds like a lot of fun. Are there any particular resources you've used while you've been looking for that? It's actually a time cycled event because they are running it for 24 hours, but Rich will be giving the keynote live from New York Watch Party. That's cool. Destin, finding this write up was a game changer. Let's see. Let me grab that URL. I'll share my screen again. Pure ESM package. Package link to is now pure ESM. It cannot. So what is this for, Destin? I don't know that I've seen this. I started at Granger in September, but working with Svelte for 2 years. Yeah, I've been working with Svelte for longer than that. Svelte has been like, this was a reminder to me doing the stream with Learn with Jason. That I honestly love Svelte, and I really have, like, I did this crash course on YouTube, and I haven't done any Svelte or SvelteKit in a while, and I realized today, like, it's really really nice, and I need to spend even more time with it. Let me see if I can get need to get the second code for Cami, huh? I can't. Has anybody used Restream here before? Trying to bring on a guest after the stream has started. It seems like that may not be super easy. I'm not sure. Muleman, the Rust WASM book where you build a game of life in WASM. I got it to work in my Gatsby JS blog. Oh, that's cool. That's really neat. Yeah, that is something I haven't spent any time with, unfortunately. That sounds like a lot of fun though. Let's see. What about anybody else hanging out in the chat? Any other wins or things you're excited about or worked on this week? Anything else you learned? Got a lot of people that joined us from the Learn with Jason stream. I'm excited to test out. My bit rate is very low. Interesting. Is that low? Does it look low for other people as well? I don't know if this is. don't know if it's a setting that I need to change to, yeah, anybody else can let me know. It looks like it's coming through. It isn't blurry for me. Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure. Hopefully it's coming through for people. A couple people for cool. Got a few people. Taylor is hanging out in the chat, by the way. Taylor is the third member of the team, like the original member of the team for the developer advocates. So Taylor, I think, is traveling right now. You're in the airport, I believe. And so you'll be on the stream to do some fun content too. So anybody that's hanging out with us, if you haven't already and you're interested in seeing more what we do in the future, make sure to follow the channel. You'll get notified when we come back with more content. I think Taylor and I are doing a stream again tomorrow. I don't know if there's anything scheduled already after that, but you can definitely find us more here on the Twitch channel, which I think will be a lot of fun. Also on YouTube. So I forget that there's people joining us from YouTube as well. Taylor's actually the one who wrote the article that we're looking at. I don't know that Cami knows this, but I'm gonna pull her in live. Let me actually tell her really quickly. Are you here? Can you hear? Can you hear me? I think. Ooh, that's not a good view. It's really quiet, I think. And the camera angle is from the side. I don't know if you know that too. Ken is commenting on the PlanetScale website. The PlanetScale website looks so dope.
Sound. Can you hear me better?
I think so. Yeah, it's a little hollow, but I can hear you.
Okay, hold on. Let me try one more.
This is the beauty of like live streaming. Like there's always something to find out as you're
Is this
working.
better? This
Yes.
must be better. Okay, cool.
Yep. Yep. We're live, by the way. I don't know if that was clear to you, but we are on Twitch.
No, yeah, I have this weird angle because they're doing construction in my house. So like my desk is in a different area and there's just like mess behind me if I do it the regular angle. So we're just gonna keep it like this for now.
That works. It's funny because I can see your video on your monitor.
Oh yeah.
It's like one of the picture-in-picture like infinite things.
Yeah. Here, do you want me to try to adjust the camera so it doesn't show my screen? Or I can just pull my screen down for now at least.
I think it's okay either way.
Okay.
Does anybody in the chat have any personal preferences? I think we're all right. Have you I think we updated the website like overnight.
Yeah, it
along
looks
with
great.
our GA announcement, but it looks so freaking good.
Yeah, it looks amazing. Like today I was on it getting ready for this and I was like, damn, this looks good. This is nice. Shout out to the team who worked on this.
Yes. Yeah, it just looks so clean. Like this is probably one of the best websites I've been on.
Just period.
To be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Got a couple of people in chat agree with us. So I mentioned earlier, I shared the link to the article. I can throw it in here again and have this up. But two big announcements. I think it's such a cool time that both of us joined yesterday. I don't know if we made that clear. But such a cool time with going GA with the product, and then also announcing a Series C round of funding, which is pretty exciting.
Yeah.
We finished HTTPS Tursk. I finished Next.js and PlanetScale Netlify template tutorial like 20 minutes ago. Very cool. Awesome. If you have any feedback or thoughts, or if it just went well for you, then let us know. We'd love to hear that.
I feel you. I don't know how I fell into this, but it applies to me well. This is how I feel like in general. Just like in general for work, like tech stuff, I'd be like, I don't know how I got here, but I'm happy I'm here and it works.
Yeah. I think like my joke earlier about all of the stuff being announced our first week is that we had to have been the catalyst for this, right? Like they were like, James and Cammy are starting on a Monday, like that we should give the company millions of dollars and take the product GA.
I mean,
At least that's what I'm telling
That's what
people.
happened. Yeah, that's what I'm telling people too. At least that's what I told my mom.
That's
The
right.
cute thing is my mom actually believes me. So she's like, "Oh my God, that's great. You're doing amazing, sweetie."
That's all you need is just that one person to believe in you, or just to believe everything you say without asking too many questions.
Exactly. This is why you have to have like parents and just like your friends around you not be in tech. So when you say stuff like that, like, yeah, we just raised Series C, they're like, oh, that's hella lit.
Mm-hmm.
Even though it had nothing to do with us.
Had everything to do with us. Someone was asking about careers, so I'll put a link to the careers. I don't know specifically, like you'll have to check on the page here for specific jobs, but I can tell you that we've grown a lot. I think the number in that article was like tripled in size since last May or whenever that was. I believe this number is slightly low. Not 100% sure either. But then anyway, inside of that link, you can find details on careers here, and then exploring the different possibilities. So go and check that out too. Someone's telling you, Cammy, don't lie to mom in the chat.
Look, it's not a lie. Okay, I joined and then we raised money.
That's right. That's true. Yeah. Databases are a lot easier to explain to parents than other technologies I've worked on.
Oh my gosh.
That's right. Those conversations can definitely be tough. Databases are a lot easier to explain to parents than other technologies I've worked on.
Oh my
gosh. Are you watching the stream also?
Yeah, hold on. Sorry. I was trying to get the mod view of the chat, but now it's just playing the stream. But I don't want to listen to the stream.
Are you watching the stream also?
Yeah, hold on. Sorry. Hold on. I'm in the past. I'm just gonna close this. Okay, there. It's fine.
I'm in the past. That should be a sticker somewhere.
That's gonna be like me fumbling on Twitch is gonna be that. So I'm like, I'm in the past, I'm in the future. Hold on 1 second.
I've made that mistake so many times of like I'm streaming myself and then I'm watching the stream to make sure everything looks good and to see the chat, and then I leave it on not muted, and I hear it in my audio, and then it ends up going through the audio for here that are watching, and it's always an awkward transition. Destin's got a link that will pop out the chat if that's helpful for you, and have that side by side.
Oh yeah, where's that? Is it back in the stream? I left it because I was scared.
Yeah. Yeah, inside of Twitch. Also I don't know if you inside of Restream, can you see the URL that he sent? So basically, I think I could show this on here. So it's twitch.tv /popout/PlanetScale/chat.
Let me try that. Okay. Thanks, Dustin. Twitch.tv/popout. What was it? /popout. Oh, did it disappear? Oh no, it's right here.
So I was telling my wife this. I saw this. I don't even remember. Oh, it was on TikTok. I had this idea, where it's this group of people that do like really funny, obnoxious things, like on university campuses and stuff, where you can kind of get away with it. And one of the things they did was they just like held a sign. It was like, first person to take a selfie with me and print it out and bring it back gets $100. So they had like this competition thing, and people are like running around on campus trying to get to a printer and all these things. I want to do that at a conference. Like I want to have some really dope swag, and then just have like 10 different challenges, and like, all right, we're going to start a new challenge on the hour every hour for the next 6 hours or whatever, and have them be like something kind of quirky, fun, tricky or whatever, and give people a reason to like interact with each other, to run around the conference, to come and talk to us. So I think that would be super, super fun. We've got Jared in the chat approves. So Jared, I need some really dope swag, and I need all the ideas from everybody in chat about what sort of weird, quirky challenges we can have at conferences in the future.
Did you see the one recently? I think it was recent because I saw it on my For You page, but it was like the first person to bring me cooked mac and cheese, and then they
Nice.
were holding like a thing of apple juice, like dump this apple juice on your head and do one more
Nice.
thing, get like a MacBook Pro.
Mhm.
And you just see these two girls like walk up on them and they're like, and they just have this dilemma. They're like, "What's cooked mac and cheese?" And the other girl's like, "You just cook it." And the other girl's like, "Yeah, but what does that really mean? Like, is microwave cooked?" And it's just like this. All the comments were like, "Oh my god, these girls were like caught up on what does cooked mac and
On
cheese
the
mean?"
mac and cheese part, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what we'll do. Should we require that people bring us cooked mac and cheese at conferences as one of the challenges?
Yeah, just in general, bring us good food.
That would 100% work. Do you want to follow along with me and try out the Netlify integration? You want to
Yeah.
see if we can do that piece together?
Yeah.
Someone in the chat also said first person to bring you a VGA adapter, which I haven't had. I haven't had to use one of those in a long time. That's a pretty funny one. Which
I
I
don't even
guess
know what
if
that is.
well, now most things are like we go to conferences, they have HDMI set up, and VGA would just be like not as common anymore.
Yeah, sometimes stuff like that comes up when I'm just like, damn, like I'm not that much younger than most people, but like little things like that will be like, oh wow,
Hmm.
that's like a clear generation gap. Whereas like I know what it is, I think. Like I know it's a cord for doing something, but if you
Mm,
told me like, can you go bring me the VGA cable, I'd be like,
you would know.
I have to look it up like what it looks like and then find it.
That's funny. It's like the
Is it
almost
the one that
like
it screws
curved
in?
rectangular, and it has the two screws on the
Oh,
outside.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I know what that
Yeah.
is.
You've been
Only
there.
because I've used projectors though. I didn't know.
Yes.
Okay, they're for
Yeah.
projectors. Okay, cool.
Monitors have them too. Not like usually not anymore. Yeah. So here's my like big H thing that other people older than me look at me like I'm crazy. I have never written a check. Never once in my life have I written a check. And I mean, I would say I don't know how. I don't think it's hard, but I've never done it. So I like in that sense, I don't know how. But anytime I've had to
Yeah.
pay someone with a check, I go and get a certified check from the bank. Because I don't have checks, never
What is a
use them.
certified check?
The only way that I can send people money if it's not in cash.
Like they fill it out for you?
The bank, yeah. So you just go and say, like, I want to take out however much money from the account, and I'm sending it to this person. So it's like specifically addressed to them, and then they can go and cash that at their bank.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, oftentimes people use it for like bigger, like when we've had work done on our house, we've used it for that sort of stuff.
Oh, okay.
Cashier check. I don't know if is there a difference between certified check and cashier check? I think they're the same thing. Also, Heck Brent is in the chat. I still can't move past the nickname Chefy B that was around for so long. But Brent, what's going on? Thanks for hanging out. And yes, I've never, I don't think I've ever written a check once. I don't think so.
Wait, but so before we move on, I'm trying to find I saw that link from Dustin, but I don't know if it disappeared. It's not in private chat. It's not in regular chat.
Was it in? Oh, if you, yeah,
So
that's
I'm looking
unfortunate.
in
I can send it
Restream
to
right now.
you.
Okay, yes, please.
I can send it to you because the problem was, let me actually
Oh,
type this out
thank
here.
you.
The problem was after you reloaded the page, it didn't show
Oh,
you the previous chats.
got it. Okay. Somebody sent it in the chat.
Oh,
Thank
you got it
you
now?
very much. Yeah, thanks,
Cool.
Destin.
Brent says that
Yeah.
he may be going back to Chef Brent. My friend, another friend at Twilio, Corey, would always be so excited for Brent to be in his chat and call him Chefy B. And it was just, I don't know, it just sounded really cool. It's like one of the coolest nicknames you could have, I think.
All right, I'm gonna tweet people that they should join our stream right now.
Sweet. Andres in the chat asking when we're gonna nerd out. If you're asking about doing the hands-on part, I think I'm ready if you are. We can kind of walk through this together.
Yeah.
We are both brand new, so we're kind of figuring stuff out. We want to get on and just kind of chat and meet people and do a little bit of hands-on stuff, and just kind of lay the groundwork for us being on the channel, hopefully much more often in the future. At least that's the plan.
Yep. Okay, cool. Just sent out that tweet, so now I'm ready as well.
Sweet. I actually missed sending out a tweet because I was handling the raid coming from Learn with Jason. So I'm
Oh,
glad that
nice.
you did. I'm going to post a link to this article one more time. And what this is going to be, this is kind of like a one-click deploy solution in Netlify for deploying a Next.js project to Netlify that is set up to use NextAuth, Prisma, and using PlanetScale as a database. So NextAuth is an open source package, I believe, for setting up authentication. It's really cool in Next.js applications, so it works really well. Prisma is an ORM for people that may be new to that. Let me know in the comments like how many people are familiar with these technologies, if you enjoy them, and specifically if you're familiar with Prisma and ORM. But Prisma is an ORM, which is an object relational mapping, I guess. And it's basically an abstraction layer on top of the database. So instead of like interacting with PlanetScale directly, you would interact with Prisma that gives you a nice JavaScript API for doing CRUD operations with your data instead of writing like raw SQL statements. I'm not a
Yeah.
SQL person myself. I assume I will become more of a SQL person, but I like having an ORM like Prisma. Because it just leaves me in a familiar place with JavaScript instead of actual regular SQL statements.
Yeah. I'm like the opposite. I know SQL because I had to take a class really recently for college. So I actually like randomly know, like I feel like I could get around with SQL like really well actually.
Yeah.
Like I did a whole semester on it where like every week we had a new project
Yeah.
and by the end it was like pretty hardcore.
That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I know like very basic stuff. I never actually took a database class. So that's one of the
Mm.
things that I just don't have as much experience in. And maybe that's the big gap I have in my career of that needs to be the next thing.
Yeah, well, we're in the perfect place for
That's right.
it.
Yes. And that like for everyone else, like, and I don't think we've talked about this, like PlanetScale is a cool opportunity for me as for a lot of different reasons, but especially from a learning perspective. Like when I joined Auth0, I didn't know anything about authentication, identity, that sort of stuff. And I've learned so much, like just brand new over the past 2 years. And it'll be the
Mhm.
same thing, at least that's my plan at PlanetScale as well. Of like now I have a reason to dive into the details about some of the stuff that I just didn't have before and continue to add to that like overall wealth of knowledge or lack
Yeah.
thereof.
Agreed, agreed. So, like, when we were building Calibaba, we didn't know really anything about databases, so we just went with, like, an open document, I think is what they call them, database, where you're just using Firebase, and where basically
Mhm.
you can just, like, define whatever you want, change it whenever you want, like, you don't have any of the issues that you have with relational databases, but the more that I dive in now, I can see now why they were and still are so popular and offer a bunch of benefits that something like Firebase doesn't. So it even has me thinking like maybe we should switch over for Calibaba. So we'll see.
Yeah, you definitely could. Yeah, I think the two biggest things, and this is like without knowing their product really well, which by the way, I just touched we had this in our training yesterday. Like sometimes people occasionally touch their YubiKey and then it spits out this random code into the chat. That's what just happened. So I apologize for that. But the two things that seem like our biggest differentiators on top of being like optimized for serverless is one like scale is like advertised as like basically infinite. Like the scale is already there.
Mhm.
As you grow, you don't even have to like you don't have to really do anything for it. You're just kind of supported. And the other thing, which is really, really cool that I'm excited to create some content about, is this idea of like branching your databases. So this is one of the things that can be really difficult with databases. Like how do you do migrations? How do you change your schemas? That sort of stuff. And so with PlanetScale, there's this whole like set of tooling around treating it like it's your source code, creating a branch and then creating like I forget, like basically a PR. And then
Yeah,
someone on the team or multiple people on the team can approve that before it goes into the database. That's a really cool thing that I'm excited to get into.
same.
Um, Brent says that they have a Slack channel at Twilio dedicated to accidental YubiKey triggers. So throw me in there for me if you can. Okay, so this article is basically announcing like the one-click deploy setup in the templates in the Jamstack templates for Netlify. So under templates.netlify.com and then /template/Next.js PlanetScale starter. And so there's this one-click deploy. I've done this yesterday, but I'll go ahead and do it again. So I'll go ahead and start that.
Yeah.
And what that will do is it will take this Next.js project. It will create a repository for me. Like it'll clone that or fork that into my name. So it'll give me a copy of that repository. So because of that, I need to connect to GitHub. I don't think, don't need to let that, I forget we have access to like actual PlanetScale GitHub now, but I don't need to authorize that for this. That's just because I'm an employee. Cool. So there's that. And then I need some sort of secret. And they have a link here, which is new for me. I hadn't seen this website, which I think this is a little bit of a Netlify bug on this, where it like overextends the input. But I forget where this was linked. We'll follow the documentation here. I can grab this and share in the chat too. But we need some sort of secret key, and it gives you that link inside of here to generate one of those. And I think should I take this off screen? I guess I'll go ahead and take this off screen really quickly. I was going to say I could just delete it later, but it's probably safer just to take it off. So there's just you and I. And behind the scenes, I am generating the secret key. I am copying it. And then I am pasting it into my Netlify environment variables. So there's 3 variables that are here. There's the secret key. There's the database URL. We'll leave that blank for now. And then there's the next auth URL, and we'll leave blank for now as well. And I already have a repository with that name, so I'm going to do a second one. So it's Next.js PlanetScale starter 2. And as soon as that finishes and it gets rid of the secret key, I'll come back and share my screen again. Cool. I think that worked. So let's go share this again. I like the animations when we switch scenes. It like animates us up from the bottom. It's kind of cool. All right. So we deployed that thing. We got the secret key. And now we need to set up the project locally. So if you already went through the Netlify deployment, find that repository that we just created. And I go to my GitHub and find that project. PlanetScale starter 2. I'm assuming I'll want to clone that thing. By the way, I installed whatever the new Monterey, but I haven't actually like had it take place yet because I didn't want to change any settings before streaming.
Yeah.
Just in case.
I was gonna say, yeah, that might be.
Could be a little bit dangerous. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna bring over. Here's my big huge terminal, and in my delete me directory, I'm gonna clone that repo. And then I will open this in VS Code. Did it grab the code, or is it in a specific branch? Did I clone that correctly? Or there's just nothing there. Never mind. Doesn't it clone?
Well, yeah. I didn't watch you clone, so I don't know what you did, but there should be something there.
I thought so. Because it should match this code. I wonder if that didn't grab it somehow.
Did you install the Netlify GitHub app?
Netlify GitHub app?
Yeah.
Like in Netlify to be able to connect it to GitHub?
Just like after you set your private key, you know, your little secret key, and then you
Mhm.
left the next step, it was, you know, it tells you to install the Netlify app and then it tells you to deploy your site. So I'm wondering if maybe that has to do with it.
I don't know. Taylor's saying it takes a minute until Netlify has deployed it.
Okay.
So it ran on code. I wonder why. Oh, because it's going. It will show up after 1 to 2 minutes. Okay. So if I go back to my repo. Ah, there it is. Now from here, I should be able to do pull
Mhm.
origin. There we go. Now I have code. Sweet. And then back in, where was my instructions? Cool. So we've got the code. Now we can run yarn install to install all of our packages. npm install. Do you use npm or yarn?
I use npm.
Me too. I've never
I have yarn
had the
also.
need to change. Sorry, what'd you say?
I think one time I have yarn, and I think I remember I had to get it to actually no, this was like a while ago when I was trying to install Homebrew, and I remember like I think I had issues with getting it. So I had to use yarn, but I never really use yarn. I just use npm.
Yeah, I'm curious. Destin was saying yarn for the win, but I could go both ways. So yarn used to be like more beneficial because it had a few just like short hands to it that I think npm has adopted in more recent versions. Anybody know, like, have a good take on the benefits of using yarn over npm? Never had any issues with npm myself.
Mm.
Destin saying that he agrees. I never switched away from npm. Yeah, I never did either, to be
Yeah.
honest. But it is interesting. It seems I see yarn more and more. All right, so it's still installing. See, once that's done, then we can run it, and we can go and look at the app running in the browser. Nart C. I've been using npm since forever, but npm 7 just screwed up so bad I had to go with yarn. Interesting.
Mm.
Okay. I haven't. If I experience those issues, then I will definitely move if I need to. Mono repos apparently work better with yarn. Interesting. Throw everyone for a loop and use pnpm. Do you know what that is? I've never heard of
I
that.
don't know. Yeah, what is that?
I don't know. Maybe it's a thing.
Maybe it's not real. And that's why it's funny.
Let's see. Be careful Googling things random people put in the chat. But since there was a topic that said PNPM versus NPM,
Okay.
it sounds like it's a
real.
It's a real thing. Yeah.
This could real quick turn into a lesson on not doing that.
Yes. Cool. Apollo Chromica is also verifying the reality or the realness of PNPM. Interesting. All right, so that install. Let's do an npm run dev. I think what we'll see is kind of this bare app. The cool thing that we'll see in a second with the code is that there's different ways to gate the stuff that's going on here. So you can gate a page after the user has after the page is loaded. You can gate it after the fact. You can gate it on the server before the page is actually loaded. And so you can do a couple of different things there with auth and Next.js, and that just goes back to like how powerful, honestly, Next.js is in terms of versatility for building apps. And Cami, I don't actually know, like, what is your language and framework of choice? Like, where do you spend most of your time?
JavaScript, React. Yeah.
Cool.
I used to do C++ because that's what I learned in college, and that was like my comfort language for a long time. But then when I started working, JavaScript was like the very first language I learned, but it was hard making that jump from like learning JavaScript and knowing JavaScript to actually building with JavaScript. But then eventually, when I was introduced to React, and then when I went over to PayPal, like that became
Mhm.
my comfort language. And now I really only code in C++ to do like data structure tutorials. I don't really make anything in C++ anymore.
Okay.
Yeah.
I did C++ for a little bit in college, and I have not touched it since. So I would be way out of my comfort zone if I were to do that now.
Honestly, C++ isn't that bad. Like I kind of like it. And I've been procrastinating on learning TypeScript, and everyone I talk to is like, "Oh, you should just do it. Like it's a game changer. You're never going to want to go back to regular JavaScript, and if you already know C++, like it shouldn't be that bad." But I'm still scared of TypeScript, but I'm going to get over it. I want to learn it. I'm going to learn it soon.
Yeah, so you've got Destin in the chat, who's the biggest TypeScript fan there is. That's something I want to do too. And Prisma is usually a good use case um, for like integrating with TypeScript, because you already have like type definitions for your data, and
Mm.
then now being able to leverage those in your kind of regular JavaScript is kind of a natural fit. So I'm looking forward to tying those two things together at least. Let's see. Cool. So it shows like this starter app. I think in here they talk about this website. Looks so good. Also you can see from me testing my personal site, it's got a cached favicon or whatever of my personal site, even though I'm running this demo one. So there's a couple of different pages on here. There's like gating a page uses use session on the client. So this is after the page loads, then gate it. There's gating a page on the server. So this is saying that inside of the get server side props. And when you said React, are you familiar with Next.js and like
Yeah.
the different
Yeah.
pieces? Cool. So yeah, they've got a few different things in here for that. There's a just make sure that you're logged in to see the secret message. There's a client redirect. So that actually just redirects you back to the home page from the client. Then there's a server redirect. So the difference here is you've got a couple of different ways to gate things either on the client or on the server, since you have access to those server side routes. Nart is saying if only TypeScript was faster, things would be better. Interesting. Yeah, I've never heard. I don't think I've ever heard of like any slowness with TypeScript. Taylor looks like is a fan of Prisma and TypeScript.
Okay, fine. I'll learn it. Fine. Fine. Fine.
Fine enough.
I tweeted just like not even expecting anything crazy. Like I tweeted something like, "Oh, I've been procrastinating learning TypeScript, but I think it's finally time." And literally it got like 400 responses, and people were all saying like very similar things. They were like, "Oh, once you go to TypeScript, you'll never go back." And it really made me think. I'm like, "How can you guys all be saying the same thing? Either it's really that good or
Mhm.
they're paying y'all. You guys are really like undercover advocates because how are y'all all having the same messaging? Like, oh, it's amazing. Like, you're never going to want to go back." So for now, I believe that it's just really that good and I'm going to learn it. But if I learn it and then I find out there's a secret club where we get paid to talk about TypeScript, I'm going to be mad.
Will you be mad though? Because you'll be getting paid at that point. So
No, because
maybe.
then y'all made me go through learning TypeScript, though.
So here, like my only debate is, I don't work on much code that is big enough or serious enough to benefit from TypeScript. Like if I was working on like a real project with a team, like I don't have any doubt in my mind that TypeScript would be really beneficial. But for like the small things that I do for just myself or for demos and YouTube videos, I kind of question whether or not it's worth it to set it up, especially for people that aren't familiar with TypeScript. Then that's another burden on them as they're
Yeah.
learning. That's the kind of stuff from a content creation perspective that I kind of go back and forth with.
Yeah.
Let's see. I should be able to log in to PlanetScale because I created a database yesterday that I think I can just use. This shouldn't show any actual credentials or anything. Dun, dun, dun. Okay, there's my Netlify test database.
Yay.
There is no data in there, as you can see. Let's close out a couple of these tabs. Cool. So we've created that database now. I'm going to zoom in on this so I can see it a little bit easier and everybody else can too. Next, you need to set up the Prisma shadow branch. This is a temporary database for Prisma Develop. To create the shadow branch, click on Netlify Starter Database. Cool. And new branch and call it shadow. So let's go to our Netlify test and new branch. And what do we call this? Shadow?
Yeah,
Did
shadow.
it give any details? Leave the base branches
Leave the
main.
base.
So this is the stuff that again, like we were saying earlier, is just really cool from a dev perspective, is treating your database like code. And that was like that's the epitome of like what DevOps has been the last like 10 years or whatever too. It's just like being able to automate all those things with code that you're already used to writing or workflows that you're already used to as a developer.
That's what DevOps is? Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Well, so yeah, it's a big general umbrella thing. And it's basically like things that fall into that are like automatic deployments and automated testing. And so it's really this idea of like we shouldn't be doing any of those things manually. We should write scripts to do it. And then we
Oh, okay.
can like maintain infrastructure as code. You'll hear that a lot too. So like as you do deployments, you can have a script that will create your VMs and AWS and all and the databases and all the things or whatever it is, and just have that be code so that like after it's tested, you know it'll work and you remove like manual error and time it takes to do that stuff yourself.
Okay. Makes sense. Makes
Fun
sense.
stuff. Yeah, that sounded like a little different accent.
Makes sense. Yeah. Just have to throw in the accent sometimes. That's just what I say. Well, I don't know. At work, like I don't think I've ever really met a DevOps engineer. So that's why I was like, I wonder what they do. I just always assumed it was like, I thought they were more like infrastructure people. Like,
Yeah, it would. I think a lot of that focus would be the automation and the scripting of that infrastructure stuff.
mm, got it.
Um, let's see, branch from cool. So we've got our shadow branch.
Mhm.
Nice. Next, connect to your main and shadow branches locally by running the following in your terminal. Now, I set up or installed PScale on my machine before. So if people are going through this, they would need to do that too. And let's see. So let's copy this command, open a new terminal. Might zoom in a little bit for people to see this.
Oh, there's a question in the chat. Will Django, is that how you say it? Django support at some point?
We'll support so Django, I think the D is
Oh, silent.
like
Oops.
like terrible English
Sorry.
words. What's the question? Will Django support what specifically?
I'll flag when they respond. So don't worry about.
Thank you. And this is in Netlify test, and this is main, and then -- port, and then what port? Shadow branch is running locally. Does this tell me what port I
Yeah.
should?
Well, it said the tutorial uses 3309 and 3310.
Okay. Which part
But
did
you can
you? Oh, it's
scroll
down there.
down.
Yeah.
Yeah. You
Sorry.
can use
Okay.
any unused port.
Yep. Cool. Let's see if that 3309. Okay. I did not log in before. So PScale off login. I'm assuming this will open the browser.
Yeah.
It actually opened on my other tab, so y'all can't see this, but it's happening. Oh, that's kind of cool. It then shows me like a confirmation code. So the code shows up in the browser, and I have to confirm that it's the one that just showed right there. It's kind of cool. All right, let me get back to my right tab. You could use PlanetScale with Django's ORM today. Oh, cool. So I didn't know if that was the question of integrating what with Django. So that's good to know. Okay, so now I should be able to run that next command. Secure database connection to database, and branch main is established. Local address. Cool. So this is basically, I think, like a proxy. Now this local URL is basically like a proxy to get access to that database, and then we will do the same thing once my terminal loads. The same thing, but for Shadow, and that other port was 3310.
Mm-hmm.
Cool, sweet. So I think that's working, and I think what we'll do. I think what we'll end up doing, I don't know if you've used Prisma before, but Prisma has like a connection string that you use. And I think
Mm-hmm.
we'll connect Prisma when we're running locally to these local URLs.
Okay, cool. Yeah, no, I've never used Prisma before. I've honestly like stayed really far away from database stuff. Like
Mm-hmm.
besides what I talked about with Kalibaba and that database class, that's all I really have done with
Mm-hmm.
databases. Especially because I mostly done work, I think, in front end stuff when I was at PayPal. So I didn't really get to learn too much about databases there.
Yeah, I think that's going to be such a cool thing. I think for both of us is like that whole learning opportunity, like forcing ourselves to learn some things that we hadn't before.
Yeah. Ah, hey, Hassan.
What's up, Hassan? Our friends from Vercel are hanging out in the chat. What's going on?
Gang, gang, gang.
Let's see. Okay, so I need to make a copy of my environment variable file. So I will grab the example, copy and paste that. Just stop it at .env.
Mm-hmm.
Hassan is asking, what are we doing? We are going through the Netlify, like one-click deploy integration with Vercel, or excuse me, with Next, Next Auth, Prisma, and PlanetScale. So that's what we're looking at today. It's just kind of walking through that.
Yep.
Destin, you're asking YouTube question mark? What was that about? You want to follow? Yeah, there you go. I did not see. Oh, you're saying. Oh, so Nutlope? Is that how you say your username is Hassan? Is that maybe the confusion? Is because we said a name that was different than the username?
Oh, yeah. No, yeah. Yeah, I said Hassan just because I know that's his name in IRL.
In
But
IRL.
in IRL, in the real life.
In the real life. What even is real life?
You know,
Who
it's
knows?
funny. Me and Hassan met up for dinner in the city, like, I don't know, maybe a month ago at this point. And like, obviously, we hadn't met before that. And he's actually the one who connected me with PlanetScale and told me I should apply. So it's funny that
Nice.
that I'm here now. So I met up with him, and before going into the restaurant, like jokingly, but also like half serious, I tweeted, I was like, guys, I'm meeting up with an internet friend in real life. So if I don't tweet again after
I
this, like,
remember that.
you know who it was. And it was hella funny. I was like, it's a joke, but it's like half true. You know, like
Yeah,
who
I
knows?
mean,
You never know.
you never know. Yeah, it's such a weird world.
But he was
That's
fine. It
funny.
was nice. We had sushi. He was very normal, very not serial killer vibes.
That's all
And
you can ask for.
yeah, especially as a woman, I'm like, just don't be a serial killer. Just be regular, and we can have a fun time.
Yes. Destin says thank you for not being a killer too. Let's see. Did it copy over? Okay, I'm gonna copy these settings over. And then I need to grab that secret that I did earlier. So I'm going to not show my screen for that one.
Yeah.
We'll be back on the 2 cam thing for a while. I don't know how far back there it is.
And I'm gonna try to adjust my camera view. One moment.
Hassan said, "Not very serial killer vibes." That's what he's going to put on his resume. I mean, if that doesn't get you the job, I honestly don't know what will. That seems like a 100% keeper. Okay, so I created this, or I copied over the database URL, which is like a MySQL prefix. It's got root user. It uses the port that we just created, and Netlify/Netlify starter. So that's the database, and then this one is the same thing, but the different ports. So 3309 and 3310. And the next auth URL is basically like where we're running this app right now is localhost 3000. And then I copied in my secret as well. Oh, did we like here's one thing. Here's the one complaint I have about this really awesome hoodie that we just got is there's no PlanetScale right here. So like I can't that's the only thing. I want to like show it more, but it's all the way down at the bottom and I can't even get it on camera.
Yeah.
But it is a pretty dope hoodie. Are you wearing the t-shirt too?
No, I'm not. I tried to save some swag for another day.
I went all out. If they would have had like socks and a hat, I would have put that on too.
Yeah, no, beanie, PlanetScale, I guess maybe marketing team or PlanetScale, whatever team this is, if you're watching this, beanies, okay, it's about to be cold in the Bay. And socks, I would definitely rock those.
I love socks. Like that's one of my favorite things.
It's a feature, not a bug.
Feature, not a bug. That's right. Hey, I'm listening. Yeah, we should also, we got to figure out how we can start getting swag for people that are in our chat in the future. So that will be, I will make that a priority to find out how to get some swag that we can do a giveaway or give links to people for the next stream. Maybe not the next one because that's tomorrow, but soon after that, I will find a way to get some people some swag so you can represent as well.
Period.
Let's see. Did I make sure I copy this over right? Yeah. So I think all those settings are right. And now we can go ahead and actually do the migration. So now that your PlanetScale database is connected to your app, it's time to run migrations and seed the database with some sample users. Cool. So inside of here, we can run db migrate. And I'm assuming this comes from the package.json. So I'm assuming there is a db migrate command. So in another tab, Hassan, we've made this joke a couple times already. The coincidence of like Kami and I joined yesterday, and then all of a sudden we announced Series C and going GA. Yes, it was 100% because we joined. That's just got to be the answer. That's definitely it.
Oh yeah, stickers also. Oh, by the way, question for you guys. Do you guys put stickers directly on your laptops or do you guys like get a shell and then put them there? Because I want to put stickers on my laptops, but I don't know, I'm just afraid of how permanent it feels. And I feel like it might mess up the, like how it looks when I want to take it off.
Mine are on my laptop directly. Destin says he doesn't do any more. So here's my thing. You'll never have enough laptop space for all your stickers. So what I want and what I think we should do is for swag, instead of giving away like the booklets that people do, like the journal type things, we should have one of those, but it's specifically meant for you to keep your stickers. So you have like your sticker history book of all your stickers because you can't put them everywhere on your laptop. You'll run out of room.
Okay, see, a few people use shells. I think I'm going to just go with that.
Sticker passport.
Sticker passport is dope. Yeah, every time I go to conferences, I get so many stickers and they just end up like sitting around. Like I don't even know where they are anymore.
How 8th grade of you. Thank you, Dustin. Sticker passport. I also want to create like a digital sticker garden for people where they can like scan them with an app and then have like their history. There's like a beer app where you can like check in at places and like track all the beers that you've drinking. Like having that kind of thing, but for stickers would be cool. Like have this big huge database of like here's all the cool stickers, untapped. That's right. Like an untapped version, but for stickers. And then people could collect, they could like trade, maybe. I don't know. This could be cool, right?
Yeah.
Thank you for indulging me.
No, I got you. I'm moral support, no matter what.
Everybody needs moral support. All right. Okay, so I'm going to run this migration. npm run db migrate. So it's running the Prisma migrate command. It's grabbing the variables from the .env, and I broke something. Unknown database Netlify starter. Is that not what I called mine? I called mine Netlify test. That could be the problem. So where was that? Was that in? I connected successfully in there. I think I may have put it inside. I think it was in my environment variable. So let me close again. Hide, go away, go back into .env, and yep. So not Netlify starter, but Netlify test. Doing stuff with environment variables live really sucks. All right, let me add that back in. Sticker NFTs, that would be good too. Yeah. That's a space I know nothing about. Like I haven't got into that at all. Oh, I like polychromica. Chromica? Does that
Yes,
sound right?
I
Sounds
love
right.
that.
That's a great idea. Augmented reality QR code on your laptop where you can rearrange the laptop stickers that you collect. So polychromica, I think. That's
Yeah.
cool. I like that idea a lot. All right, we should be able to run the migrate command. Just joined developer DO on Sunday. First time getting involved in W3 stuff. Interesting. Let me know. Oh, with Natter. That's awesome. Cool space.
Yeah, I
Can you
joined that
explore it
DAO
more?
too, actually. I still haven't really had time to sit down and go in the Discord, but I got my little NFT.
Nice.
And yeah, people like love that article I did. It was just like a very simple intro article to Web3. I built like a very, very simple Web3 app following a tutorial, and I wrote a blog post about it, and it got like a lot of love. And I think it was because at the time, well, this was only like 3 or 4 months ago, but at the time there wasn't really that much beginner friendly content that actually showed source code. So it was all like very meta, like talking about like Web3, but no one really knew like what does that actually mean. So in my blog post, I shared the code files for how I actually built the app, and people were like, "Oh, like that's great! Like this is actually, you made it concrete and not just this like random like abstract thing." So even to this day, like 2 to 3 people every day tweet me like, "Oh my god, thanks for the article!" Like
Really?
whatever,
That's
whatever. Yeah,
awesome.
yeah, it's really
It's cool
nice.
to have like long form content that's around and people are still interested in. By the way, what is developer DAO? So what is the DAO for that? Like DAO for me is like data access object or something. But I don't know what it means in this case.
I can answer that in 1 second because I can't multitask. Yeah, so there's a DAO. So there's many different DAOs, and they're basically just okay. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. This is just what I think so far. It's like the governing body, or kind of like the like a committee that runs whatever it is that they are in charge of. So like the developer DAO is like one DAO, but there's like the DAO that's for buying the constitution, right? Like there's like a group of people right now who are trying to pool money together to buy like the last copy of it that's like not owned by museums or something. So then the DAO of that would determine, okay, like once we purchase it, where should we put it? Or once we purchase it, like how often should we parade it around? So like these are the people who are making decisions, but it's like shared amongst all the people in the committee. Is that right? Polychromica, it sounds like you maybe have a good idea of what it is.
And they've got the acronym spelled out there as decentralized autonomous organization. It's and FooForce has got one too. Decentralized collective governed by rules, enforced by smart contracts, voting done based on token holdings.
Right. So for the developer DAO, there's like a certain number of NFTs, or these tokens that if you hold one of them, you're part of the DAO, and you then are able to have voting power and decision-making power. And I will link the article I'm talking about in this chat if anyone wants a nice little intro to Web3.
Sweet. You could buy a seat on the board of directors by owning an NFT. Yeah, this is maybe I'll like follow your lead if you have more content and stuff around that
Oh
for
yeah,
my learning experience.
yeah, I got you. Hashnode put together like a curated list of
Mhm.
resources for getting into Web3, and my article is part of that. So I'll find that one and send it to you. I'll put it
Nice.
in the chat.
Sweet. By the way, the migration happened. So if I go into my database, we should see all of the different tables. I believe. Well, I guess we'll have to do this. Can I see my schema in here? Schema changes. There we
There you
go.
go.
Sweet. So accounts, there's all these different things.
Yay!
Session user verification token. Cool. So we've got all that stuff has been migrated. Also verify it works by looking at. Oh, cool. So I haven't really done this yet. So this is connecting to the database with the client, I believe. Oh, I need to install the MySQL command line tool. Let's see. Saw this in the notes yesterday and forgot to do it. Installing MySQL on macOS. I guess this is. Oh man. Oh, I don't have
I
to.
think there's the community one. Oh, it wants you to still log in. Oh, there you go.
I've been through that before when I was teaching because it did that same thing to students and they're like, I don't want to sign up for a thing. And eventually we found out that there was like this very subtle, you don't actually have to do that thing.
There you go.
All right, let me run. Oh, does the brew install? Let's actually do that instead. I would rather do that. Let me open back up VS Code. Thank you, HTTP. S install MySQL.
So just FYI, in a second I'll probably have to at least turn my mic off because I scheduled the construction guys to be on lunch, but now I can hear them. I can hear them parking. I can hear them coming back. So they're about to start going ham with the jackhammer again. So I will just get off video and audio, and I'll just be active in the chat.
Cool. Yeah, that works. And we're probably we're at an hour, a little
Yeah.
over an hour because we started a few minutes early too. So we don't have to go through the entire thing. But all that would have shown, like the stuff that I was looking at to verify in the console, we already saw inside of the dashboard as well. So while this is running, can I open yet another tab? I'll close application and we can run npm. Let's see, does this have the npm run seed? It's not pulling my script. So I have this plugin called Fig IO, and it has some pretty cool IntelliSense inside of my terminal. That usually works really well. So DBC should go ahead and populate some data in our database. So this will add 3 mock users as described in that file. Verify that they were added. Click on the console tab in your dashboard. So we should be able to see something in here after that is done, just to show that stuff was gone through. Taylor's saying you could check out the web console and PlanetScale. Cool. So I think that's where this is. And after we do that, if I then can connect back in the MySQL thing, then we should be able to run a query from here as well. So this is still installing MySQL client, which is okay. Under if, so it looks like it finished the seed. All right, and then I can wait for the MySQL client to do the query. Cool. And now we need to update the environment variables for this to run live. So inside of PlanetScale dashboard, go back to database, select main under branches, click on connect drop down. So let's go to the overview. Let's click on main and connect. And let's see, what was the next? Connect and generate new password button, then click on general drop down. That's like Prisma. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I think this is going to end up being a secret credential. So I'm going to hide this for a minute. You'll just get to look at Cami and I. Actually, I'll take, just so there's no like placeholder there, I'll take Cami out for now. But I'm going to go through this and click connect and generate new password. Okay, so this is giving me database, username, password, and then let's see. Next, click on general dropdown in the modal and general and choose instead of those raw connection pieces, let's go to Prisma. And this should give us like a clean URL that we can copy into. Yeah, so copy the URL. All right, so got that copied. We also will need the next auth secret. We've already generated that. And then the next thing we'll need is the Netlify site name that was generated for us. So let's go into Netlify. Going into my environment variable. So under deploy settings and environment. Now we'll want to add the database URL property. Database URL property there. And we'll also want to add the next auth URL. That's basically going to be the domain that we're using for the website itself. I'm pasting that in behind the scenes. Cool. All right, that is in there. Go back to general. I can get rid of this connect thing, and then I can come back and share my screen. Cool. All right, so I updated those settings inside of Netlify, and now since we've updated environment variables, we need to redeploy this thing. So let's go to trigger deploy and deploy site. So this will now take those new environment variables, go ahead and do a rebuild and take those into account. Hopefully we'll be good to go. And once that is ready, then we can check it out. One of the things I hadn't done is looked at, let's look at next, look at auth, use auth with auth. Let's see what, I think this has API and then auth and then next auth. There we go. So this is actually very similar to the way that this stuff gets configured inside of the Auth0 SDK for Next.js as well. Is you have this like dynamic route thing inside of API auth, API auth. And what you do is in there, you then export basically the configured next auth object. And this is using like GitHub as a provider if you want to. It also has credentials with username and password, email and password, and has some logic around that. And so you basically export this thing and then this configuration object, and then it will generate routes behind the scene for you, which is kind of cool. And then inside of, let's see, inside of pages under admin, if we look at one of these, there should be a gate on here. My computer is kind of scrolling with the get server side props. So with get server side props, we're checking the session, and then if there is no session and or if there is no admin role, then we redirect the user away. So this is using the get server side props to do that server side gating of this page and send people away if they're not meant to be there. So all right, looks like this thing has finished running. So let's go open that URL up. Let's open this thing. We see this load, and then now, according to the instructions, we should go to /admin/setup. Right. And um, throw in some dummy data there. Oh, it's got requirements on it too. I think that's the configuration, probably with NextAuth as well. Um, did a longer version of my dummy password. Don't need to save that. So am I actually logged in? I am. And if I wanted to go to the admin page, would I then be able to have access to it? Yes. I have access to this page, which shows the user dashboard. Here are the 3 users that were created in that seeding of data. So that's kind of cool that that's already there for us. And then here is my user with my email. And then I wonder if there, what does the help tab do here? That may just be a dummy tab. Can I, cool. So let's see if there's anything customized. If you want to do anything else, you can. I think that's basically it. So that was cool. I like that. I need to dig into the next auth stuff a little bit more to see how the stuff is being used, but it's actually like pretty simpler to stuff we did at Auth0, which is nice. Um, and then we didn't show this earlier either, but there should be a schema file. So when we did that database migration, um, Prisma, the way it connects is we tell it which URL we're connecting to, and then I think the way Prisma does migrations is with these shadow databases. So we tell it which one is our shadow database branch, and then which one is our regular one. And then it takes, here's all the schema information. And then when we ran that migrate, it actually runs the Prisma migrate behind the scenes and then gets all that data into our database. So that is kind of cool. And then from Prisma, let's look at building my dad's site and next, and about to dive into next auth. Cool. Destin, I'd love to, I mean, I'm assuming you will, but I will just encourage you to continue to share that. I'd love to keep up to date with the stuff that you're working on there. And then one other thing I was going to look at was, where's the admin page? Pages admin. This should make a query. Uses query. It's calling API users. And so let's go into that API endpoint. Users. How come I didn't see that earlier? Anyway, so it's calling that API endpoint. Inside of here, it's going to use, I imagine, the Prisma to do prisma.user.find many. So for people who haven't seen this before with an ORM, now instead of writing direct SQL queries, I have access to the domains or tables that are in there, and then functions like find many that I can work with. And it's just like kind of regular JavaScript that I'm used to. So that sort of stuff is really nice. That's why I am particularly excited about using Prisma with the stuff that I do in the future. So a lot of cool stuff in here. There's obviously a lot more details to dig into behind the scenes, but some pretty neat stuff. Anyway, I'll leave this piece of docs in the chat for anybody that may want to try out. As we wrap up, anybody have any last minute questions or comments or things you'd like to see in the future? My goal is to start doing some content with this in a few different places to integrate PlanetScale and Next.js and Svelte and SvelteKit. And I've just started learning Vue also. So I'm thinking about doing some content on Vue and Next.js as well. So I'm planning on tying this into a lot of different places. But I'll give a second to see if there's any questions or anything before we wrap up. But I appreciate everybody hanging out with us for one of the first streams on the channel. I appreciate having all the interactions and the questions and the engagement. Dustin, sounds good. Thank you. Well, cool. Let's see if the PlanetScale channel probably doesn't follow anyone, so I'll skip a raid for now. But one day in the future, we'll follow some accounts where we can raid over and support some of our other friends at other companies. But thanks everyone for hanging out. Really appreciate it. Looking forward to see PlanetScale at Prisma Serverless Conf. Yeah, that let's do a link to that as well before we go. Prisma Serverless Conference. Grab a link and throw this in there. Cool. It also shows like um my ticket that I have for Prisma Serverless Conference. So this starts in 1 day and 20 hours and 46 minutes 35 seconds. You can't see the countdown, but it's on the homepage there. Oh, and the last thing, Cami, thank you for the reminder to follow PlanetScale on TikTok. So just PlanetScale spelled the regular way there on TikTok. Thank you, Cami, for throwing that in there. And Taylor, do you have a link to the? Let's see. Let me see if I can pull up the giveaway as well. There's so many links I need to make sure that I grab. So many things. There we go. Yes, thank you. So for launch week, there is the scavenger hunt. So all the details are in that blog post that you can check out. So really quick wrap up with a couple of things. Prisma Serverless Conf. We've got follow this channel if you haven't already. There is also the PlanetScale TikTok, which is new. Then there is the two links that you have from Taylor in there about launch week, and then the second one specifically is about the giveaway that you should all check out as well. So I think that will do it. Thanks again, everybody, for sticking around. I really appreciate it, and I hope to see you in streams coming soon, I guess. All right, I will talk to you all later. See ya.